Thank you, Iris, for taking this application, and we are now before the Supreme Court of Singapore. We have already filed the application and e-served on the Attorney General based on the notification. I will have to check that again, but whatever I have with the reasonable belief this has been served. Now my client Irene will speak about the application.
Hello everyone, I'm Iris Ko, founder of Lee Wei Ling. Today I have submitted
Yes, don't worry. Yes.
Yeah, so today I submitted the judicial review to...
Don't worry, I'll explain later. Don't worry.
Okay. So
You just speak for your heart. Yeah. Carry on whatever you have in the heart, literally. Yeah.
Ready?
You're the Joan of Arc of Singapore. You mustn't be frightened. Yes.
Okay. Good evening everyone. Hang on.
Okay.
Good evening everyone. Iris Ko, I'm the founder of Lee Wei Ling. So today, I found, with my lawyer M Ravi, I have found a judicial review with the Court of Singapore, and to basically against the discriminatory measures for the COVID-19 discriminatory measures for all the unvaccinated and partially vaccinated people here in Singapore. So I hope that with this, we can restore truth, justice and equality back to our country. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I can do for you.
Yeah, hold on a second. Huh? Okay.
Oh, you want me to stand next to you?
Yes. And I can handle this, don't worry. Okay? Yeah, come, darling.
Great.
Okay, you are the powerful force. I'm just a small instrument here. Hi everyone. And you already know that I'm M Ravi because it's my Facebook Live. Sometimes too much of formality. Now, first of all, we just filed the application, and you wonder under what sections. All over the world, lawyers are marching. Malaysian lawyers. I just spoke to Mr. Alex from Penang, right?
Yeah.
He is doing a wonderful job in Malaysia. He has filed several applications, and I took side of them. I'm so grateful to him. And also our brothers and sisters in India, they have taken the WHO to task. We have, I don't have to tell you. You just Google COVID scam, the whole plethora of information, and also the pandemic movie series has revealed the pandemic condition of the entire COVID exposure. We also know that there's also a meeting going on. I've already put all the Illuminati meeting story and all that. You should know what's happening. And if you don't know, just go in my Facebook. Just go and look what's happening. Go to Mr. Irene's website, which is
healingthedivide.cc.
Yes, Healing the Divide. It's not anti-COVID, please. It's Healing the Divide. We would like people to come together in harmony and peace to drive Satan away. And what is that Satan? COVID-19 measures. Secondly, we need to focus on one issue. What is this application? How did I take this application? Under what provisions? Now, the application is taken. I'll slow down because my Irene is saying slow down. Yes, true. Okay, I have all the time on earth. Those who are rushing with whatever, they need to sit down and answer in the Supreme Court and everywhere this relevant questions. First of all, these COVID measures are not only they are discriminatory, they are defined under international law as crime against humanity. Now, Iris asked this simple question. Hey Ravi, I know her for 20 years, so she's very honest and sincere girl. She asked me, I don't know why everybody's calling you a girl. Okay, you look like a baby girl. Okay, only pure heart will do this. So first of all, the question is this. How is it that crime against humanity is relevant in Singapore? Will our court use this? Can be convinced by an argument, or whether there's a reasonable basis for it? Yes, the answer is yes. First of all, if you are convinced that there is evidence I can show to the court that COVID is actually a crime against humanity, in which there is actually a methodology which is explained through scientific means to say that it is actually not what it is, and I think you already know, I don't have to spend so much of time. So therefore, it violates Article 14 of ASEAN Charter of Human Rights, which has become law in Singapore. What does ASEAN 14 Charter of Human Rights, Charter 14 of ASEAN Charter of Human Rights say? is basically you cannot impose cruel and inhuman punishment and degrading treatment. What is cruel and inhuman degrading treatment? Against your will. Against your will means you're not giving consent. Isn't this COVID vaccination is against your will? Can we have a choice not to administer? I understand children are going to be administered. Do they have a choice? Isn't that not is it an informed consent? All the answer is no. And in particular, people who suffer from bipolar condition and some LGBT group of people and who come within the Convention of Rights of People Against Disabilities, it's called CRPD. That means it's a Convention of Rights of Persons with Disabilities, also prohibit cruel and inhuman degrading punishment and treatment. The cardinal of which, if someone cannot give consent, or like for example my client Nagendran, he's not able to he's not able to give consent because he doesn't even know what's happening. He's a mentally retarded child. He's 5-year-old child. Can you imagine this 5-year-old child would have been executed last week if I had not intervened with the grace of God. I have not intervened, God has intervened. I repeat, I'm just an instrument. If you think that you are great, then good luck to you. Then you're greater than God, is it? So I'm speaking to those larger audience which you know who they are and where they are hiding in Belakang Mati or Pukul Mati, I don't know. But at the end of the day, guys, ASEAN 14, Charter of Human Rights, Charter 14 invites Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which prohibits genocide. Now, we have a specific law in Singapore that prohibits genocide and crime against humanity. It is Geneva Convention Act, which was passed in 1957 in Singapore. Geneva Convention Act, passed in Singapore in 1957. It has become the law in Singapore. Now, has it been applied in Singapore? The answer is an unequivocal yes. Because in the case of Yong Wui Kong versus Public Prosecutor in 2013, where I filed an application that caning as a method of punishment is cruel, inhuman, degrading punishment and treatment. But the law in Singapore is that the Court of Appeal said Singapore framers of constitution have basically framed, I think they have framed Singaporeans, I think, not the court saying, I'm saying that they framed in the sense that the ruling in Yong Wei Kong is that cruel and punishment is not prohibited in Singapore. That it is permitted. That is the law the court has pronounced. I disagree with that because Parliament expressly didn't reject it. Although Wee Chong Jin's commission recommended it, Parliament did not adopt it. That does not mean Parliament rejected it. That is the opinion of learned professors all around the world. On those who know Yong Wei Kong versus Public Prosecutor, it is the stay of execution application I took out. Then I filed a mandatory death challenge against a mandatory death penalty. And then all the international law has become part of Singapore law as part of Article 9.1, right to life and right to liberty. Now, the next clause that I have applied in this application, which is Article 9.1 and 9.2. What does Article 9.1 says? No one shall be deprived of life and liberty, save in accordance with law. Those who have been deprived of life are those people who, against their will, they are subjected to, or they just, take COVID, this thing, and they die when they are administered with injection. Then their life has been deprived. Is it in accordance with law? Answer is no, because it is against international law, because it is a fraud. The Pfizer 0.6, the 666, the code 0.6, it's against the law because Bill Gates is implicated in that, and Singapore and the relevant parties are all participating in it, and we have relevant evidence. At the court, we will show. Let me see what the Attorney General is arguing, and I will see the argument. I've been seeing 20 years what they are arguing. Okay, I don't have to laugh. The laughter itself is louder than what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that, first of all, Article 9 also has not only right to life, right to liberty. My client Iris does not want to take vaccination. I have been vaccinated against my own will. Do you think I know the effect? The minute I took COVID, my personality was altered. I was not that person. But because I'm spiritually strong, because I eat rasam, I eat all the ancient Tamil food, which are all medical food, I survive. But most people I know are all bizarre behaviors after the scientific literatures to establish this. I'm not saying this. There's general consensus on the General Council of Medicine and the General Medical Association, of all the associations, hundreds of thousands, right, are marching, and lawyers and doctors have all given evidence against it. Now, that is Article 9.1, because all the restrictive measures means your liberty is curtailed. Now, next article that I'm challenging is under Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Didn't sign Singapore. Singapore must become to a member of United Nations. Singapore must sign the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Has Singapore signed? Yes, because Singapore is not an island. It is an island, but no man is an island. Singapore can become a no man as an island, but that's a different sort of subject altogether. So therefore, Singapore is subject to that Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which we are also citing here. And also, this is the most important, this is the Da Vinci Code. Constitution Law of India. Where did we get our constitution from? Singapore, Malaysia, and all the Commonwealth. This is from the crown jewel of India. Now, what is established here very clearly is that the Court of Singapore has all the powers to investigate all the crimes and arrest all the relevant parties, including ministers or Attorney General, even if Chief Justice. You mean I can't take an action against Chief Justice? Of course I can. No one is above the law, isn't it? If everyone is equal before the law, even IRIS can arrest anyone else. All this is not rocket science, huh? Don't be frightened. You can arrest everyone, provided you can show the recourse. Lawyer is not greater than a judge. A judge is not greater than lawyer. Minister is not. All are equal before the God, right? Sorry, God and God. But God is definitely supreme. We obey only the command of God. And that is why we have marched here valiantly, because we know God exists and He will vanquish the evil tonight. Now, as speaks tonight, because you know all the fellas are here in Singapore, what? You know, and all the, this is what rocket science are. The whole world knows and laughing at us. La. So don't worry. Facebook will block. La. You know, who's Facebook? I'm not interested in Facebook. Kuttarbak. All these fellas will also block. But because I got blue tick, I better don't say so much. I got 50,000 followers, I think, almost. Anyway, Constitution of India has Schedule 1, which is in Singapore Constitution. Now, Constitution of India defines the powers of all the Constitution, especially Article 9.1. Thanks to my mentor, Mr. Sriram, who brought this attention to me. Mr. Sriram is a very learned man who has written several judgments in Malaysia on his own accord. He types 800 judgments, research, type, everything. This great man pointed that Schedule 1 is in the Singapore Constitution that gives the power to the Supreme Court that to administer justice wherever and whenever there is injustice and crime against humanity or whatever is committed, torture, non-compliance to the law, any part of the Constitution is breached. That power is vested under Article 93 of the Constitution of Singapore. So, Article 93 is a supreme, defines that rule of law is a supreme law of the country, and therefore the only person who can interpret that is Article 93, the judges of the Supreme Court of Singapore, and they, if there's any transgression by the legislature, like all these crap laws, they, or Pfizer or whatever, Pfizer and Moderna and Cordena, they can remove all of them, and they have a duty to do that because they have taken a constitutional oath under Article 27 to say that we hereby take an oath to obey the Constitution. If they don't obey, they are in breach of the oath under Article 27 of the Constitution of the Republic of Singapore. The authority is Mr. There's one, the judge in Malaysia, Mr. Hamid Sultan, who has extensively written on constitutional oath. So therefore, Singapore judges, in fact, the constitutional oath is also taken by the President of Singapore, the Prime Minister of Singapore, and all, what is his name? The opposition MP, I can't remember his name, Pritan Singh, Sylvia Lim, everybody have taken parliamentary oath. They have a duty not to abdicate their duty to file a complaint if there is a breach. As parliamentarians, what are they doing? This is across, my Supreme Court is a parliament. My office is doing this. Through the assistance of instruction of Ms. Iris, who's valiantly standing up for the rule of law because she is God-fearing. We only fear God, nobody else. Satan can go back and pack up and just go tonight, go back to America or wherever. You go and sleep with Count Dracula, that's your place. But not in temple and not in God's place. This is a pure place called Singapore. Sri Mariamman is my goddess. She is also protecting us. All of God is one, paths are many. Unity in diversity, Om Sakti. On that note, finally I will say that all the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Geneva Convention, Act which is part of Singapore, Article 14 is part of Singapore, and Singapore is also the leading member in the ASEAN. So please obey the law. That's all I'm here to tell you. If you disobey, then I think God will come down. No need to think lah. He has come down. Okay, on that note, hallelujah and praise the Lord. I just want to say something.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye to the Antus.